Right, to get started with setting up your QR code sign out system for your student iPads, you want to go to the Ephrata homepage and look for the link for staff links on the left side of the screen. Click staff links and then click on Office 365. That's where we're going to make our Excel survey that we're going to need to make the system. Sign in with the first part of your email address and your current network password and click sign in. Once you sign in Office 365, you're probably going to see something like this. It's OneDrive. If you do not see this, you need to get to here. So look for the icon in the upper left-hand corner if you don't see OneDrive, and click it, and then go ahead and click on OneDrive. Inside OneDrive, click the button for New, and then choose Excel Survey. You need to give it a name, so call it something similar to iPad sign out sheet. I already called another one that same name, so I have to call mine something different. Alright, I'm going to hit OK. After you give it a name, it's going to ask you for your first question. We need to create two questions. The first one's going to be, what's your name? So click on this area that says enter your first question, and then this will pop up. Type in the question, what's your name? And we don't want to have the students typing in their name. We want them to select it from a list to save some time. So instead of text, for the response type, go ahead and choose choice. Essentially, it's going to be a multiple choice question with every student's name on your roster. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to write 3 names. John Smith, of course, Jane Doe, and Chris Myers, whoever that is. Alright, so I only have 3 here. You'll probably have somewhere between 20 and 30. We want to make this a required question, so check the box next to required. Leave default answer blank, and question subtitle can stay blank as well. Check everything over, make sure all of your students are on that name list for choices, and say done. Alright, that question is set and ready to go. Now we need to click add new question for our second question, which is going to be iPad number. Chances are you have 10 iPads in your class, so again, we want them to choose from a list instead of typing it in. So change text to choice, make it required. There we go. And change all the choices to numbers. Make sure that each number is on a separate line. That's what's going to make it a separate choice. Leave default answer blank and say done. Alright, up at the top of your survey, there's one last thing we want to do before we go ahead and save this. It's asking for a title, so kind of like what we did before. I don't know why I didn't do it already. Let's call it iPad sign out. And description, sign out your iPad. There we go. Alright, that's all set and ready to go, so we need to click Share Survey in the bottom right hand corner. Once you click Share Survey, it's going to bring you up a link that we're going to be able to share out. Okay, so the link is here. This is a web address. Anyone that gets this address will be able to access your survey. Now, to make things easier on the students for accessing the survey, we want to turn this link into a QR code so the students can scan it every time they take an iPad. So what you want to do is make sure the entire address is highlighted, right-click it and copy it. And now you're going to open up a new tab. On your new tab, go to qrstuff.com, qrstuff.com. This is where we're going to go to make our QR code. On qrstuff.com, you should see a site that looks like this. Inside this website URL box, right-click and paste the address that we just copied. The only other thing you need to do now is go ahead and hit Download QR Code. It's a little button on the right. And that should initiate a download. You can see mine's right here. And if we click that, it'll open up our QR code. Okay, so here's the QR code. This is what you're going to want to tape on to your iPad cabinet. I recommend printing several of these, so that way if you have 5 kids taking iPads at the same time, you can have 5 kids signing out at the same time. More than one kid can access the site at a time. So from here, I would go to print. And let's see here. Let's go to wallet sized, and we're going to change copies of each picture to, let's do 10. Okay, so we've got 6 here. It's going to be on 2 pages. All right, now we've got 9 there. And I would go ahead and hit print and then cut them out, tape them onto the iPad cabinet, and tell the kids anytime they get an iPad out, they're going to need to open up the QR code reader app. The best app for that, you can find it in the OneNote for digital literacy. It's called Enigma. That's I-N-I-G-M-A. And essentially it's just a QR code reader app. That's all it does. So they take an iPad out of the cabinet, they open Enigma, they scan one of those codes that you have taped near the cabinet, and it takes them directly to the survey. They choose their name, they choose the number, they hit submit. That's it. Okay, there's one more part to this, and that's accessing the list of all the kids that have signed out your iPads. So what you need to do to obtain that list is go back into Office 365, and for everything that you've created, it'll be stored here in your OneDrive. So the student iPad sign-out sheet that we have here, this is the one that I just created 3 minutes ago. You can see it's a list in my OneDrive. If I click that, it's going to take me in to the actual sheet. This is not the survey, so we can see we just created it. So no one's ever used this yet, but as students would start using it with the iPads, they would have, you would see names populating here. You would see numbers, so you can see exactly what students have which iPads, and there is a way to find out the timestamp. That's a little bit more of a complicated procedure, but this more or less just tells you which kids had which iPads, and it will stack in chronological order. If you're interested in finding more about timestamping, you could let me know. I'd be happy to spend some time helping you figure that all out. So that's basically it. If you have any questions, just feel free to contact me, email me, or just give me a call. Thanks.